Great question. I will give the first thought I'll say is Sarah Catanzaro, who we had on last week for the coffee session, said this very well, which is the relationship between unstructured data and structured data and machine learning is really difficult to handle in the current MLOps process. So, if you have an image and you have some information on that in the table, like how does that all get associated the right way? How do you know how that's going into the model? And then how do you keep that sort of relationship tightly coupled? And as somebody that works on images, I think that the tooling around image sort of stuff could be a lot better, So I feel like a lot of times, like when I look at things, people are kind of like, oh, we don't support images yet, but, we'll get there. I'm like, okay, fine. I bet you will, but, I think that's something that I'd like. The other thing I'll say is like, related to that point of like data management and unstructured data and structured data, models, machine learning models are a combination of data and code. Right? They are data at a point in time and they're code at a point in time. That sort of versioning workflow and how that, the models of interaction around that and the abstractions around that, I just feel intuitively we'll see that improve, And I think this is where I have actually been impressed by the Replicate project. They are figuring out with Keepsake and Cog how to think differently about the entire notion of a model as an asset, and developing a set of tools around that. The final thing I'll say is like, this is a kind of comparison. This is a loose comparison I use, but if DevOps is where software engineering meets IT and information technology resources, MLOps is where software engineering meets machine learning and ML resources and whatever all that means, right? And so I kind of use that mental model, and I think a lot about, where DevOps tooling is now to understand where MLOps tooling can be in the future. And one thing, what has really revolutionized DevOps is this notion of like infrastructure as code, right? You can just like, AWS has these things like CDK and stuff like that really just feel like magic, where you just put things into like easily usable formats and that spins up something in the cloud that, does exactly what you need it to. And then it's easily replicable and usable and has all those benefits. What if machine learning models are like that someday, right? What if, we can just really, what if we approach a layer of abstraction to the point where models and the ability to create models, I think AutoML is kind of getting there, right? Where it's just really data context, and you have a domain expert that says, okay, this is the problem I want to solve. These are the options that I can configure things into. And then boom, it's a model that's in production and has some sort of metrics and monitoring and everything layered on top of it, right? All of that kind of encapsulated. I think Todd Underwood kind of spoke to this as well. The idea that most of what we debate in machine learning is really just where the different boxes are and where we configured things differently, So I think those are kind of my three perspectives on where I think the current tooling is kind of lacking. It's images, the sort of like model as code notion, and then just model interactions, I guess.